I always when we talk about things on the podcast, I always get uncomfortable when none of us have a differing opinion about something. So I'm like, fuck. We should get...
Is this a collective L take?
Because I'm like, we could be completely out of touch on this thing.
Right.
Yeah. You know? I'm like, what if we're just wrong? Like,
I thought you were gonna say, what if we just what if we're falling off? We're not arguing anymore. You know,
also
we're kind of agreeing with each other.
Isn't it fucking boring when we just all agree and none of us have any devil advocates to play?
No, because we still get to have a conversation about how we collectively feel about it, right? And you know, if we decide to have a collective L take on it, then hey man, at least we're all in it together.
I'm having an L take with the boys.
Yeah.
For once.
Whenever I agree with Jerry and Garn, I'm like, man, I must be wrong. I must be in the wrong here.
It's like I'm in danger right now.
I bet people on their alt accounts are going to vent about this episode. They're going to be like, why didn't they get me?
Well, will we see it? Probably not.
No, we won't see it. It's
probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I always like that we get to talk about certain things that are maybe more serious or more deep on the podcast, but I always do worry. I'm like, man, we're three guys we live in our own little circle, and we don't have enough outside opinions sometimes. That's why it's nice having guests on there as well.
Yeah, for
nice
sure.
to have the differing opinions.
I mean, we
I think we're pretty good though at covering bases.
Yeah. Hopefully. Touch wood.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different opinions and different ways of looking at the world. And I think that's what also I like discussing things with you guys. Because when I'm wrong, I'm like, they'll tell me, right? They'll tell me.
What if we just leave you swimming and it's just the comments will get him?
Before Trash Taste, I didn't realize how much of my life experiences and perspective was just based around, it's just like a Southeast Asian thing, isn't it?
Well, you don't realize until you get grilled online for every minute thing you say that, oh shit, maybe I thought some things that were just wrong.
Oh, it was a me thing. Fuck. I thought it was an everyone thing. God damn
there
it.
are something that are just me things. I'm like, please be my heritage. Come on.
Please say psych.
We all think all bread tastes the same, right? Fellow Southeast Asians, right? Come on.
And they're like, nah, I'm not collecting my mans today. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, no. What? In general, nobody is born knowing the correct takes or whatever is deemed the public opinion on a take. And you just have to learn it, and we're going to fuck up. And you all fuck up at home, probably. You probably just don't realize it because nobody's grilling you every goddamn second of the day, analyzing your opinions and what you meant by them.
Well, that's the problem with social media today, right? Is that there's that, especially with content creators, there's that expectation of how did she not know about this thing that they clearly weren't raised upon? And it's like, well, fuck me, man. It's almost like I'm living a completely different life to you.
Genuine question. Do you think there is kind of how can I word this? A rage economy going on
for sure.
in social media?
I mean, everyone also wants to have an opinion because in our day and age, having an opinion on something is the only currency that we have socially. You just have to have a take. That's everyone's thing now.
Yeah.
And of course, because we've learned that you want to get as many likes or whatever, and we've said this before on the podcast before, but it's to have likes in any direction, you go hard in one way or the other, right?
I just feel there's no winning in a situation like that, especially if you have a social media presence, because it's in this day and age, I feel you not giving an opinion is still giving an opinion. You know, it's that whole idea of it's like, okay, so what do you think about this particular situation that everyone is having an opinion on? And if you don't want to get involved, which, some people choose not to, that's fine, then that becomes a statement in and of itself, right?
Yeah,
and then people be like, why don't you have an
an
opinion on this? And then when you give an opinion, doesn't matter which way you go, there's going to be someone angry.
I mean, I do kind of agree that inaction and having no kind of thoughts on it is also kind of
an action in itself.
Yeah, because you've chosen not to get involved, and it's what does that say about you?
Yeah.
Right, if you don't want to get involved, but also it's totally understandable if you're just fatigued by a lot of stuff that you're like, dude, I don't fucking care about this issue. I have other issues that I'm more concerned
that is a
with.
level-headed person's way of thinking about that, right? But unfortunately, on Twitter, there's a lot of people who are not like that.
If you genuinely go on twitter.com to decide how your opinions are formed, then I think you're already going to be having weird-ass thoughts and really bizarre and extreme opinions, I think.
Absolutely.
I think it's very important to make your own mind up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But have you guys noticed as time's gone on, we talked about how attention spans have gotten shorter because of the internet. Have you noticed just in general, because of just some things you see online, you just end up getting like a bit angrier more often than you used to, just because of some stupid article or some stupid opinion you see.
Definitely. I feel like that, like, especially in the last couple of months, I feel like every day I open up fucking Twitter, I start off with just rolling my eyes, being like, oh, fuck, what now?
Yeah.
Like, what's the new thing that everyone's angry about? I'm like, I'm so sick of this shit. Can I just have a day where I just go onto Twitter and all I have to worry about is the next hentai pic I see? Like, can we have that back, please? Like, can people just chill?
Yeah, I don't know, because I feel like it's really easy to get into this like self-destructive loop of like, oh, this thing, like, you know, there are different tiers of things, because sometimes you just see a stupid tweet and you're like, fuck, why am I getting annoyed that this tweet has 20,000 likes? Why am I this invested in someone's dumbass opinion, right? I just like, I hated that feeling. So I've been trying to go on Twitter and just, you know, social media less, but like I kind of realized that I just ended up like, it felt like, one, my brain chemistry was changing because I was getting used to the fact that I would just be getting emotionally invested in things that I really shouldn't be emotionally invested in. General, different things that would have never, ever mattered to me in any other circumstance or any other situation in my life. For some reason, now I'm invested in this one situation.
Right.
And I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I feel like...
Because it's thrown in your face now, right? Like, there's almost no escape from it unless you
feel
consciously choose to not have it in your
I feel like I
face.
have the opposite, where I just kind of disassociate and don't care for any of these situations.
Right.
Like I didn't really pay much attention to a lot of issues recently where people get angry because it felt so insignificant and so small. You know, and then also when you see that getting angry has the opposite effect, and where it was like, oh, everyone getting angry completely defeated the point because they made everyone angry, and then everyone had an opinion, and then it made it even worse.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so was all of that for nothing?
Yeah.
Was all of that for your main argument and main point to just be undone? Like, it's like, why, when it seems that getting angry or getting worked up about stuff just leads to even worse consequences?
I feel like...
And it's like, man, I feel like we just have to pick our battles smarter online.
I feel like, I don't know if I'm going to use the right terms though. I feel like there is like a subconscious addiction to it.
They love it. I think people love getting angry online.
I feel like with the way the internet's gone, I feel like subconsciously people are looking, not like, maybe not like consciously looking, but subconsciously it's like whenever there's something they can grab onto to get angry about, or like to like look at this thing and be like, look how dumb this thing is online. I don't, there's this subconscious thing in your brain that goes, yes, you should get involved in this, you should have an opinion on this one way or the other. And I feel like the internet and social media has trained our brains to do that. I don't like, maybe this is just me growing up in my generation, but I don't know if this is the way things worked in previous generations. You know, people would just let people. Like,
I mean, I think the way it used to be, and the way it kind of, I think I appreciate more and more, is that you kind of just pick the battles you're passionate about.
Yeah.
A cause that speaks to you.
Yeah.
Maybe for whatever reason that is. And I still try and do that. You know, obviously I think there's a difference between supporting an argument and actively getting involved in it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a really important distinction to make, and something that gets lost a lot, where I think a lot of people perceive inaction as a lack of kind of support in any way, where it's like, well, in some way I kind of disagree, where it's like, if you on like, say on online or something, like, let's say, I don't know how to word this correctly without getting my whole entire career destroyed. Like, it's like, if you're not actively doing stuff to like further a cause, or you're not trying to like raise money or spread awareness, does that mean that you don't support something? And it's like, I don't think that means you don't support it. I think it just means that maybe that's one of the things that you didn't choose to spend your energy on.
Yeah.
Like, there's only so many battles you can take.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, you got to go to work, you got to go to school, you got to do shit. And you can't go home every single day and be like, what's the new thing? What's the new battle? What am I getting passionate about today? It's like, I feel that as human beings, we were just meant to survive. And then maybe if you have the time, and if it's something is really passionate, maybe it affects you directly, or maybe it affects a loved one, then maybe you get more involved with it. And I think it's like expecting everyone else to feel as passionately as you do 24/7 causes a lot of friction.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's that kind of stuff that's frustrating, and it leads to people who maybe are in support of stuff to get really frustrated and really tired because other people who support it but way more passionately are like, why aren't you doing as much as me?
Yeah.
Why aren't you saying as much as me?
Yeah.
And I think that's been a really tough thing to deal with, because on the internet now, it's so much more accessible and so much easier to say those thoughts to someone.
And I feel like a big thing is that...
I don't know if I explained that even right. I thought that could have been gibberish to people. I don't know if that made any sense.
That made sense, because I feel like a big thing is that it's never been easier to feel like you can be involved. You can make a difference in something, even if doing a tweet or doing a Facebook post is like the entirety of what you can do. You still feel like you're contributing in some minute way to something. And I feel like that feeling of that emotion of feeling like you can have an direct effect on something or someone has just caused this kind of environment. Because theory, okay. I feel like there is a reason why a video trend has gotten really popular recently. And it's the video trend of how X YouTuber fell from fame, or how this person fell from grace, right? Or how this person got cancelled, right? Yeah. I don't like those videos too much, but I will admit, I'm fucking addicted to them, okay? There is something about those videos where I'm like, I shouldn't watch this, but something in my brain's like, you should
I think it's because
how did you fall off?
Even if the presentation is terrible, even if the quality of the video is so bad, I think the information in it is quite valuable in a weird way.
Especially for people in our line of work.
In a way that just kind of hacks your brain.
But
it's so crap at the same time.
These types of videos are the true crime for YouTubers.
No, they are.
We are the white girls, and those are the true crime videos.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
Because
holy shit, you're right.
you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I feel there is a subconscious part of your brain that is like, I want to feel better than someone today. I want to feel like my life is going better than someone else's today. Okay, I feel,
and there's a part of you that's like preparing for the worst.
Because
it's like learning by example.
And there's a part of you that's like preparing. Okay, this is what I need to not do to fuck up.
Yeah.
And so even though there is probably nothing in those videos or like maybe one video will be useful, but like watching 15 of those videos, there's, you can't really garner anything useful out of those 15 videos. Yeah. You know the story. There's some Minecraft YouTuber. They rose to fame really quickly and then they fell off again. We know the fucking story.
Yeah.
But there is some part of your brain that I think you watch those videos because you are kind of... Everyone's going through some hard things in life, and we want to know how to make our lives better. And, even though it's not a pleasant thing, sometimes seeing someone fall from grace can make yourself feel better.
Yeah,
people
get that feeling of like, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why we would like this.
Yeah, I don't know why we like this, but there is some part of you that's like, I'm so glad that wasn't me. Yeah. And it sucks. It sucks because it could be us. It could be us, but you're like, and I know that, but some part of me is like, kind of.
At least it wasn't me today. Yeah. No, I totally get that. Like, you could be like the most like wholesome, supportive, nice person that's like, open-hearted to like every person, every difference and everything. But like, sometimes, like negativity or viewing negativity sometimes reinforces self-positivity. And it's like, that's just how we are as people, unfortunately.
Yeah. One thing that I had a thought about, and I don't know why it stuck with me a lot. There was this charity event where some celebrities had gotten involved, and like big celebrities. Yeah. And I was having a conversation with someone who was working for the charity, and they were talking about how they invited this other celebrity, but they said no because they're doing another charity or something. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Why wouldn't they want to like help both? And they were like, oh, well, it's like in that sense, it's like you have to pick your battles. Like if there's only so many times that you can ask the audience or the people who are paying attention to you to give money to a cause.
Yeah,
because but if you ask them one time, then you ask them again a week later, you're like, all right, well, dude, I just gave money. Like, what do you, pick the battle here. Like, pick the right cause. And it made me think of like how it is how I could extrapolate that kind of thought to social media and how people treat that in general. It's like, yeah, people got to pick their battles as well. Like you can't always be there for everything.
Yeah, people have to pick whatever personal priority they decide to pick, right?
Yeah,
And I feel it's very
so.
unfair to like criticize that unless it's for like a really, really just like objectively unethical reason, right?
Yeah.
But in the case with like your example, right? It's like, well, shit. I mean, it's easier said than done. If everyone had the mentality of like, oh, I could just do both, or I could just do all of these, then we wouldn't need charities in the first place.
Yeah.
Like everyone would just be well off, right?
Yeah.
Everyone would just be
Yeah.
giving money to one another. But unfortunately, that it doesn't work like that. Like you have to, at the end of the day, some people sometimes just have to prioritize what they need to prioritize, and those priorities might be different from the next person.
Yeah.
But that's just how they are. Like you can't. I feel it's very unfair to like push your own self priorities onto someone else, especially if they live in completely different circumstances or completely different lives, right? And it's like, yeah, it's I don't know. That's always irked me, and especially when it comes to like having an opinion online about anything, right? It's like maybe their priority is to not get involved.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't mean they're any less of a person just because they're not getting involved. That's just their priority. And unfortunately, there's nothing you can really do or say to like change that, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough. I don't know what I'm saying.
It's like you have a lot of thoughts that feel cohesive, but explaining them is so tough.
Yeah, it is. And I'm just
I know that a lot of people come to the podcast because we don't talk about a lot of political issues. And I think it's also because we're fucking terrible at talking about them.
Yeah. We can barely talk about our opinions on food and video games.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to make the conscious decision to not talk about this because I do not trust my own self to articulate a problem. And let alone like
They're all up in here.
let alone a serious problem.
Yeah.
I'm not articulating that in any way, shape, or form.
There's people who can do it much better than we can.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yeah. It's tough. The world feels really rough right now. I think it's hard to stay positive and not get angry about stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that is worth getting angry about right now.
Yes.
So yeah, pick your battles.
Pick your battles.
Hopefully things change for the better.
And hopefully
what I
you're
heard.
not watching how trash taste fell off in 3 years.
That'll probably happen at some point.
It'll happen.
Everything's got to fall off at some point.
Yeah, man.
That's
Everyone's going to
natural,
fall off
man.
at some point. So
I just hope it's well edited.
Yeah.
If it does happen,
yeah.
make it
All right.
look nice at least.